I know technically the NBA offseason and the free agency period is supposed to start tomorrow night at 6 p.m., but we've still got a ton to talk about on today's edition of Carving Up Live. Going to start with my beloved Golden State Warriors. Some Anthony Davis, LeBron James news coming down the pipe, and I think Draymond Green just made that a possibility. Get to that. Also touch on Ja Morant. We'll see how it works in Portland. We'll see if he can hopefully, revive his career. I have my doubts. Only time will tell. Touch on that. Also get to LaMelo Ball traded the Timberwolves. I don't know what Minnesota's thinking by making this move. Also get to Kawhi Leonard. Clippers, it would appear, trying to trade him as quickly as possible due to some of the allegations regarding the team and Kawhi and getting him out of the organization and what have you. Why I think him going to Toronto would actually be a really good fit. Touch on that. And also, listen, breaking news could happen throughout the show today. So stay tuned, everybody. We've got a jam-packed episode of Carving Up Live NBA from start to finish. So let's drop the beat, baby. Here we go. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Carving Up Live right here on YouTube as well as on Twitch, X, Instagram, and on Facebook. I am Bryson Carver, and boy, you heard it in the promo there. We've got a jam-packed show from start to finish. And, again, it's funny. Shout out to my man, John Rivera. John texted me earlier, and he was like, I thought the offseason and, free agency, I thought that was supposed to start, on the 30th, not the 29th. And it's like, well, you had Giannis traded last week. LaMelo was traded on, I guess that was Friday. We'll talk about that in about 30, 45 minutes or so. Ja just got traded an hour ago. AD might get traded to the Warriors, which will lead to Bron going to the Warriors. Unbelievable stuff happening in the NBA. And we've even gotten to Jaylen Brown and Kawhi Leonard. Listen, Shams said last year, and it kind of got clowned for it. I'll be transparent saying I was one of those people who did this. But Shams went on McAfee last year and said, man, this is going to be one of the craziest off seasons ever. It's like nothing happened. Maybe not incorrect, just early. Unbelievable stuff. Very excited start to finish. Before I get to our NBA stuff, I did want to say this because, it was nice that the Red Sox played the Yankees over the previous 4 days. And the Red Sox I don't even want to call it the season from hell because this is just how Red Sox seasons tend to go at this point with this incompetent ownership. However, on Thursday,
Yankees lose.
And then on Friday,
Yankees lose.
And then on Saturday,
Yankees lose.
And then last night, ladies and gentlemen, up 2-0, going in the ninth. You blow Chapman, thanks to some bad defense, terrible defense by Boston. Yankees end up tying the top of the ninth. They score 2 in the 10th with more bad defense from Boston. And then you get just a complete rally at the bottom of the 10th inning to complete a sweep for my 23rd birthday. Take it away, Poppy.
Yankees lose.
Beautiful thing to see. So I'm feeling good. Sox just swept the Yankees. And Golden State Warriors, things are looking up for them, so let's get into it. But first, I gotta say, as far as, my outlook on the Golden State Warriors going into next season, I thought the peak for the offseason was draft Yaxel Lindenberg, check. That was the guy I wanted to get. Number 11 overall out of Michigan. And then sign LeBron James. And the next year, it's like, okay, you got Steph and Pods and Draymond and Bron and Porzingis comes back and Lindenberg has unbelievable upside like that. I think they'll be a pretty good team as long as they can stay healthy. But I didn't think they could beat the Spurs or Oklahoma City. I thought it was like a second round ceiling type of situation. Well, now, based on new reporting, there's a chance that ceiling could raise just a bit. Now, I should say a lot of dominoes. Many of the dominoes have already fallen for Golden State. So if you haven't seen the reporting, Shams Charania, I should say Kevin O'Connor actually was the first on this last night. Shams sort of reinforced it with the Draymond news, which we'll get into. But Kevin O'Connor reported last night that Golden State is trying to form a big four of Steph Curry, Draymond Green, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. And a lot of what had to go into that, or what had to happen in order for this to be a possibility, was for Draymond Green to opt out of the final year of his $27 million contract. And you say, well, yeah, obviously Draymond would do that. Mike Dunleavy Jr., the GM of the team, as recently as last week, said that, yeah, I expect Draymond to opt into that last year of his deal. Because if Draymond opts in that last year of his deal, makes $27 million, well, now Draymond this morning opts out of it. Now he can sign a more team-friendly contract. Shams has already said Draymond's coming back to Golden State. It's just a matter of what the price will be. So you have a situation where Draymond opts out, that frees up cap space for Golden State to potentially make a move for one Anthony Davis and to be able to sign LeBron James to the mid-level exception, I should say. But I was thinking, Brian Windhorst was on Rich Eisen. Y'all know I love Wendy, and he's been great on this LeBron James free agency story over the last month or so. But Wendy and others have suggested, well, Draymond clutch client, Bron clutch client, so is Anthony Davis, that maybe this is Draymond Green aiding LeBron and Anthony Davis, in particular AD, using the Warriors as leverage to get his clutch buddy and his real life buddy. They're good friends, as evidenced by 80s prank show, which was hilarious, to get Anthony Davis a big extension in Washington. Now, AD is eligible. I think it's about 4 years, in excess of $270 million extension from the Washington Wizards. And according to reports, Rich Paul, AD, they're going to talk to Washington, see what the situation is. Here's what I would say if you're Washington. Because folks are like, well, they're going to bring him back, right? First of all, AD hasn't played a game for the Wizards yet. He got traded midseason, but the Wizards were 2 miles away from playoff contention. So they're like, we're not going to risk him getting hurt. And hurt our draft status, by the way. And you got AJ DeBonce, obviously. Would you rather extend Anthony Davis's contract to now where that would take him to age, I guess that would be age 37 because he's 32, so you have a year of this deal and then 4 more years, or you trade AD for an expiring Jimmy Butler contract, so Jimmy would be gone after next year, so that frees up a ton of cap space in Washington, and he gets some draft picks out of the deal. Like that's a win for Washington. So now you got Trae Young, AJ DeBonce. You've got a bright future. You feel like you got some pieces that you can work with moving forward. So for the Wizards, I understand why AD would want an extension from them. I would be floored if Washington gives it to him. Because to be frank, I'm not sure the Warriors will give it to Anthony Davis. I think it'll be a situation where AD goes to Golden State, his buddy LeBron James there, his other buddy Draymond is there. He obviously played with Steph on Team USA in 2024, and it's like hey, we're going after the title this year, prove it. You're younger than Dre, Bron, and Steph. You show us that you're worth an extension. Whereas with Washington, completely different circumstances. They're obviously not contenders. They're trying to rebuild and get something going in the right direction over there. And then there's the LeBron component of it, which I have, over the last month, 2 months, I have had a gut feeling that LeBron would go to Golden State or to Cleveland. I thought it was one of those two. I thought the Knicks were potentially on the board, but once the Knicks went on the roll that they did, Bron wasn't going to join New York. This whole time, not one moment did I think, oh yeah, Bron's coming back to LA. Now it's not set in stone yet, but I've never felt like LeBron was going to come back to LA. Number one, they signed Austin Reeves to the max. You say, well, because of the cap situation in LA, that doesn't affect LeBron's contract status moving forward. Correct. But if you are LA, and if you see where the Western Conference is going right now, you say, okay, teams are getting bigger to compete with the big guy in San Antonio. I mean, you saw Oklahoma City did. They brought back Hartenstein, but before that, they drafted Adai Mara from Michigan. 7'3", writings on the wall. He's going to be the quote-unquote Wemby stopper. Try and give Chet some help, right? Maybe play Chet at power forward. So as the conference gets bigger and better defensively and younger, the Lakers' strategy is oh, we just lost our ring light. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. I believe we just lost our power and our ring light. Hang on. Technical difficulties on carving up. Let's see if we can get this fixed. The ring light. Oh, we got it back? We got it back. Okay. The ring light's been a little inconsistent as of late, and we just lost it again. Hang on, folks. I'm looking at the light here on the plug, and I think we're fine. Apologies for the technical difficulties. We should be fine. Okay, moving forward. The LeBron James component onto it is, again, Lakers look at the Western Conference. They see it's getting bigger, it's getting younger, and their strategy is, hey, obviously Luka's the face of our franchise, defensive liability. Let's bring back Austin Reeves, also defensive liability. Let's bring back DeAndre Ayton. And again, he opted into the last year of his deal, but he can't be the only big there. Not a defensive center by any means. And let's bring LeBron back and let's be the 6th seed in the West. How's that going to sell with the the front office group, or not the front office group, the new ownership group in Los Angeles, the Walter family? Like that's not going to work. What I think LA is going to do, honestly, I think they're trying to go get Walker Kessler. get a good, legit big man, pair with DeAndre Ayton, kind of build the roster the way that the Dallas Mavericks, and we bang on Nico Harrison, rightfully so, but put together a roster like what Dallas did with Luka in 2024. Luka's the head of the snake. You have a scoring guard next to him, Austin Reeves, Kyrie Irving, and then just build the greatest help defense unit you could possibly make. Get long, rangy defenders. The Lakers do not have those right now. Get good bigs, because obviously Dallas had Gafford, who they acquired at the deadline. They had drafted Derek Lively. Like, get some bigs to play with Luka. Get some long, rangy wing guys. I don't think that's going to be something the Lakers can fix in just this offseason. But they can start on that process. Bringing LeBron back does not help that. And let's be honest, we've talked about in the show, Bron was at his best when Luka was off the floor. Luka was at his best when LeBron was off the floor. They're a clunky fit. And then you add Austin Reeves to it. It just doesn't work. Bron going back to Cleveland from a nostalgia standpoint, yeah, makes all the sense in the world. Of course he'd want to go back to Cleveland. Stylistically on the court, makes no sense. Not even a little bit. Harden opted out of the last year of his deal. Every source is reporting Harden's going to come back to Cleveland. So you got Donovan Mitchell on ball, Harden on ball, Bron at his best when he's on the ball. That doesn't work as well as you would hope for it to be. Go to Golden State now. Bron's going to be the point guard. Steph's going to be running off ball. I'm not exactly sure what Draymond's offensive role is going to be. Not that it, I guess, matters that much, because Draymond's impact, we know, is on the defensive end almost singularly at this point in his career. And he can still do that. We saw what he did against Kawhi Leonard in the play-in tournament. But you pair him with Anthony Davis, who he already has chemistry with. You pair him with Steph Curry, who he has chemistry with from the Olympics. And then Draymond Green, who obviously has never played with in Olympic basketball, but Draymond's his buddy. Draymond is going to defer to LeBron James, if nothing else, financially. But you look at a starting lineup, go and put up on the screen, pretty good. Steph is the de facto point guard. I should say Bron's going to be the de facto point guard, but Steph's going to be listed as PG. Brandon Podziemski, just to add some shooting. Bron, Draymond Green, Anthony Davis. You say, Bryson, come on, man. Like that, the ceiling is really high for that group. That goes without saying. The floor's in the gutter because we don't know how healthy they're going to be. Pods, I don't really worry. Well, Pods don't worry about it at all. He played all the 82 games last year. Draymond has actually quietly been one of the more durable players in basketball. And Bron, even if his day is Iron Man, missed the first month of the regular season and was pretty much in the Lakers lineup from start to finish the rest of the year. Agreed, but then you look at Golden State's bench. Mostly young guys. We can show you those guys. Put up the Golden State bench should this deal happen. So you already got a young guy in Yaxel Lindenborg. Now, old rookie, but he's 25. Great fit in Golden State. Moses Moody, who will not be available. He might not be available all season long. Fingers crossed on him with the knee injury. Guy Santos had a phenomenal year last year in Golden State. Got himself an extension. Al Horford, your old guy. He's already come back to Golden State. Signed a 2-year deal. And Will Richard, who played good minutes, was the second round pick from Florida a year ago. Played well for Golden State, good shooter. So all the bench guys, the key bench guys outside of Horford, all young guys. Lindenborg young, so's Moses Moody, Guy Santos, and Will Richard. And that doesn't even count for the fact that they have to do some real sort of maneuvering when it comes to salary. Draymond might even have to take less potentially, and I'm not sure he'd do that for this player. But you could bring back Kristaps Porzingis potentially. So then it's all of a sudden your bigs are AD, Porzingis, and Horford. That matches up pretty well with the San Antonio Spurs. It does. That could give Wemby trouble. Now, Wemby's going to be better next year, but if you're going to compete with that, you better get bigger. Well, Horford's back. Porzingis is going to be back if AD isn't. He could also be back even if AD comes to Golden State via a trade. And so logistically, makes all the sense in the world. For Washington, you could extend AD, or you could continue to move on with the future of your franchise with AJ Debonsa being the face of your franchise and trade AD, get an expiring Jimmy Butler contract, and some draft picks. Like that to me makes all the sense in the world for the Wizards. And for the Lakers, and for LeBron, really, other than Bron just loving LA, and most rich people who live in LA love LA, understandably so, there's no upside for him to come back. There's no upside for the Lakers, and there's no upside for LeBron James to come back to LA. By the way, if his family wants to stay there, fine. What's an hour and a half flight from Northern California? Like, that wouldn't be a problem at all. And again, fit-wise, Bron would basically be Magic Johnson. Like, Bron's scoring would no question go down, I think, which it did last year. I'd say LeBron would probably give you 18, 19, 20 points a game at most, but like 9, 10 assists. Steph averaged 26 a game last year. He hasn't declined that much, it would appear. Draymond's your defensive stalwart, and you got Anthony Davis defensively. Pods can shoot. So can Guy Santos. So can Al Horford. Like, you got floor spacers. Will Richard. Yaxel Lindbergh's your long, athletic wing, so you've got athleticism in that regard. Like, listen, going into next year, should this happen, the Spurs will and should be the favorites to win the West. If nothing else, because forget the offseason acquisitions. They just brought back Champagnie on a long-term deal today. Congrats to him. He was excellent in the playoffs. Wemby should be the best player in the world by the end of next season. If nothing else, the Spurs should be favored just for that alone. OKC should be number 2. And then that third spot is up for grabs. Let's see what the Rockets do in this offseason. Do they move KD? Do they move Şengün? I think they got to move one or the other. I don't think it's tenable to bring that group back as currently constructed. Denver, they're potentially in the Jaylen Brown business. That could be interesting. And Golden State's in that group of teams that are in that third spot in the West. And as we saw last year, who won the NBA Finals as the third seed in the supposedly weaker conference and blew through everybody? The 3 seed New York Knicks. Like, it's New York doing what they did, as well as I think that playing game against the Clippers, which Steve Kerr himself talked about, like, that kind of inspired me, inspired my family, for me to come back to Golden State in the first place to coach. It's like, oh, Steph still got it. Steph can still give you 34, I should say, still go nuclear in the second half of games. And Draymond can still be a defensive just mastermind doing what he did against Kawhi in the second half. And we've got nice pieces. If we add some big dogs, sure. I don't see why we couldn't be a team to be feared in the Western Conference. And he would obviously have to manage their minutes like that. That definitely goes without saying. There's been a lot of discussions about load management, how they would approach that. Back-to-backs, I think, are pretty much off limits. But again, because of the depth, if LeBron sits, insert Yaxel Lindbergh. If Draymond Green sits, insert Guy Santos. And then if Steph's out, with injury, put Pods in the point guard role. Like, you can interchange a lot of guys. It's a very versatile lineup. And in the event, and albeit slim, that Porzingis is able to come back on a reduced deal, well, then you're set at big. I mean, you are set. If Al Horford's your third best big, you are in really good shape in that regard. I mean, that's where we're at today. So I think it makes all the sense in the world on paper. It makes all the sense in the world as it pertains to the best interest of Washington and moving on from AD, the Lakers and moving on from LeBron. And for Golden State, man, it's as simple as this. If Steph Curry, obviously the greatest player in the history of a franchise, no question. But I've said it a million times that for what Steph has given this organization, he's turned millionaires into billionaires. He's the reason that Chase Center even stands as we sit here today. He turned the Golden State Warriors from Clippers North in the state of California to the gold standard in the NBA. By the way, has been loyal to you throughout. He has said himself, I want to have the Dirk career, the Kobe Bryant career, the Tim Duncan career. I want to play with one team, start to finish. You owe him. He loves your franchise. He's still great. You owe him. And as I've lamented time and time again on the show, with the exception of the Jimmy Butler trade, I guess now a year and a half ago, the Warriors haven't gotten him that help since KD walked out that door in 2019. And he still got them a title in 2022. Like, again, as time goes on, the more truly remarkable that 22 championship is when you see who was on that team, who was out of their prime, who wasn't in their prime yet, the young guys that got that 22 title is close to, if not on par, with Dirk's 2011 title. Like, go back and watch, see the opponents the Warriors played. I digress. Makes all the sense in the world for all parties involved, for the Wizards, for the Lakers, obviously for the Warriors. It makes all the sense in the world for all the individual pieces to this puzzle. Steph and Draymond are the constants. Draymond's going to be back in Golden State. We know that. Shams reported that. I think Draymond is not taking less money unless he is really, really, really sure that something's in the works. He just wouldn't. Like, from the Warriors, no chance. He might take a discount to go elsewhere. Maybe if he went to the Lakers or if he went to, OKC or insert contender here. Not in Golden State. He's got a legacy there. He's one of the 5 greatest Warriors ever. He's got a legacy there. He's not going to sacrifice money so the Warriors can add, what, RJ Barrett or something in a trade. Like, he's not doing that. So I'm excited. I think it makes all the sense in the world. I think the Golden State Warriors make this happen. Never forget, too, because folks are talking about, well, are you sure that Jimmy and some picks is what you would have to give up for Anthony Davis that other teams couldn't give you better deals? Maybe other teams could get you better deals, but if you're Washington, the Wizards should know firsthand they didn't have to give out that much for AD. We can show you again. This is the AD trade from February. AD and some players, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, Dante Exum, and then Dallas got, again, Chris Middleton, Marvin Bagley III, and AJ Johnson, 2 first-rounders and 3 second-rounders. Like, it's a good deal, but it's not like the trade that we saw with Giannis. Not even close to this trade that we could potentially see today or in the next week for Jaylen Brown. So the Golden State Warriors would not have to give up a king's ransom. Like, they just wouldn't. So we'll see how it plays out. And I think I don't want to get too excited. It has not happened yet. But that Draymond news this morning of him opting out of the last year of his deal that would have paid him $27 million after the GM, Mike Dunleavy Jr., said, yeah, we expect him to opt in. And he doesn't. That tells you something's in the works. And also, by the way, just, NBA Twitter can be a funny place sometimes, and also a great place to read the NBA offseason tea leaves. Go to Draymond Green show, X page, and it says they've got a show coming tomorrow, and the gift they have is like the bat signal in Gotham. So now, does that mean Steph's going to be on the podcast? I mean, it could be as simple as, maybe he's having Robert Pattinson on the podcast. Like, you never know. I'm just saying it's something. It is something. Doesn't look like we've gotten any free agency news, because right now, for those that don't know, they'll move on to the Ja Morant trade. So free agency has technically already started, but guys being able to leave the organizations they were with and sign with new teams, that can't happen until 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night, June 30th. But trades have happened have come like crazy. And we got a very interesting one about an hour before we started the show tonight. Let's get into that. Ja Morant has been traded to the Portland Trailblazers, and all they gave up was, do we have this trade here? Jeremy Grant and Chris Murray. That's it. No picks, just Ja Morant for Jeremy Grant, Chris Murray. That's the trade. So let's start in the Blazers side of this, and then we'll go to Ja. So again, we talk about writings on the wall and things being pretty obvious at face value. This is one of those things that, okay, wait a second. You've got 4 guys who are listed as point guards on your team that are starting caliber guards in this league. Damian Lillard, who'll be coming back from injury next season. Ja Morant, Drew Holiday, Scoot Henderson. Not to mention your best player, Denny Avdia. He's kind of the primary ball handler for Portland. Like they put the ball in his hands. He's a high assist guy. So that's 5 guys with the ball in their hand. That's not going to work. Portland, and Shams reported this, that because we'd heard some Blazers, Jaylen Brown rumors. Shams went on SportsCenter report today. Like, yeah, that's kind of done now. Like, the Blazers view Ja Morant as kind of their big offseason acquisition. And they believe that a backcourt with him and Damian Lillard, they want to see what that can do. Denny Avdia, and you got Klingon on that team. Like, that's a good Portland team. They'll have to trade Scoot Henderson and Drew Holiday. Could that be, we'll talk about Kawhi later, could that be involved in like a 3-team Kawhi Leonard trade? Who knows? Here's what I do know. This goes to the job piece of it. Because Scoot and Drew, whether it's together or separate, they're going to get traded. I still think Drew Holiday this day is such a valuable player. I'm a huge Drew Holiday fan. For Ja Morant, though, I think this is probably the best situation he could have gone to, because the top 2 sort of trade destinations that we've heard, I'd say over the last year, 18 months or so, were Miami and Minnesota. We'll get to Minnesota trading for LaMelo Ball after the break. Miami, okay. We understand the background and the sort of baggage that comes with the city of Memphis. That definitely goes without saying. Hear NBA players talk about that city. They do not feel safe there. They don't enjoy playing there. Relocate them to Nashville, put them back in Vancouver. One of the two. Point is, If Ja was getting in trouble in Memphis, the F you think he's going to do in Miami, like that is a massive red flag. The Heat should not do that. Minnesota, obviously not the distractions there that you would see in Miami. However, Ant Edwards is the best player. There, no questions asked. He's the alpha. And Minnesota, if they're not looking to, they're certainly not one of the favorites, apex favorites to win the Western Conference, but they have been to 2 Western Conference finals. Like, they've had successful playoff runs. They're going to expect Ja to come in there and make them better. They're going to expect Ja to come in there and, at worst case scenario, get us to the Western Conference finals or further. I don't know if those expectations at this point in Ja's career are ideal. If you go to Portland, it's a very good basketball team. They did just beat the Spurs a year ago in the postseason in a game 2, albeit Wemby got concussed in that game, but still. Avdia was an all-star. Dane's coming back for injury. Klingen's good. That's a good basketball team. Plug Ja in, you imagine they get better, obviously. But no one's expecting Portland to win the West. And Portland, very low-key market. Like, it's not going to be a place for distractions. Like, they literally won't put an all-star game in Portland because they don't have enough hotels. Like, it's a very chill, low-key place. NBA players love to go play there on the road. Love it. So in that regard, it's perfect for Ja. But I do think while the expectations for this player aren't what they were 4 years ago, heck, 3 years ago, where it's, holy crap, he could be the best point guard in the league. He could be the face of American basketball. Not Ant Edwards, not, as it turns out today, I think, Jalen Brunson, certainly not somebody like Cade Cunningham or Tatum or Jaylen Brown. No, this guy. Charismatic, ridiculous athleticism, volume scorer, gave you some 40-point games in the postseason. Like, it's fun. It makes sense. This is your face of American basketball. And if you look at Ja's career, it's just been a downward spiral. So year 1, he comes in, he's rookie of the year. Grizzlies barely miss out in the playoffs. Year 2, if you remember, they beat Steph and the Warriors. Now, that was without Clay, but that was one of the best years of Steph Curry's career. Went to Golden State, beat the Warriors, made the playoffs. Great. Year 3, got to the second round, and you're an all-NBA player. So it's like, holy crap, you're going to be one of the 5 best players in the league in short order. Year 4, that's when the vast majority of the controversies with Ja happened. The gun in the nightclub, the incident with the Indiana Pacers team bus. Before that, there was an incident with, some poor kid at Walmart. Like, it was, and then after the season, you had another gun IG live video. So you get suspended 25 games. You come back, you only play 9 games because you got hurt. You injured his shoulder. You come back the next year. I guess that would have been year 6 for Ja Morant. So 2024-25. Grizzlies make the playoffs, but not once but twice. You're again doing gun gestures, which the NBA told you not to do, and then you did it again, and they fined you. All to have your season culminate with a matchup against Oklahoma City. You get swept off the floor, and after the season, you're like, I think we were figuring Oklahoma City out. Man, you got swept. What are you talking about? And then this year, you only play 20 games due to injury. And at one point early in the season, you make fun of Klay Thompson's shooting ability in a game that you yourself weren't healthy enough to play in. That's the reality with this play. We can put that on Memphis. We can put that with a toxic Grizzlies organization. Feel free, be my guest. I've been on that for years. But it's got to start with that guy too. People want to blame Memphis, the Grizzlies organization. Years ago, they wanted to blame his dad, T. Morant. Not to say all those individuals are not without fault. But this is a golden opportunity for him to, if we're keeping it a buck, save his NBA career. If you would have said, hey, 3 years ago, let's back that up. Because 3 years ago, that's when the off-court controversies really ramped up. Let's say 4 years ago. Ja Morant just got traded. Holy crap, how many picks did they give up? Oh, there had to be a star associated with this deal, right? No, it's Jeremy Grant and Chris Murray. That was it. No draft picks, no nothing. Chris Murray and Jeremy Grant. Good players, but not going to win you a championship. Portland's a good team. Portland's got good young pieces. You've got a great veteran presence and the face of your organization, Damian Lillard coming back. Denny Avdia is the best player on your team. This is a golden opportunity, and I cannot emphasize enough how much I'm pulling for Ja. I really, honest to God, am. But a lot of those incidents in Memphis, that was on Ja. It was. So I really, 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 really hope, first of all, just for health purposes, like injuries have cost him, 2 of the last 3 seasons. But also from a maturity standpoint, again, we haven't had like a serious off-court situation where it was guns in IG lives or guns in the nightclubs or guns pointed at the Pacers team bus by his crew. We haven't had those, but it's just been time and time again. There's at least 1 or 2 moments where like, God, this kid doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. He's making fun of Klay Thompson and his shooting ability. He's using an opportunity for his teammate Cam Spencer, who had the game of his life, to make fun of Klay in Cam Spencer's post-game interview in a game that he himself didn't play in. The year before that, yeah, we figured out OKC. You got swept by OKC. You didn't figure Jack out. John the Grizzlies figured out OKC the way I figured out, geometry. I was never that good at math. I wasn't. It made no sense. And so I'm pulling for him in Portland. I hope it works. I understand why the Blazers made this move. I think a Jaylen Brown trade would have made sense, but then there's also that is Jalen's better than Deni Avdija today, but also Avdija is younger, and they traded for Deni Avdija. He didn't start in Portland, but he's kind of like the face of him and Dame are like the face of the franchise. And what does that mean for Dame? I think this makes sense for Ja. For the Blazers, they're going to make more moves because Scoot Henderson, Drew Holiday do not fit into this equation. They're going to move them. Shams has already said they believe their backcourt's going to be John Dame, and we'll see how it plays out. So, pulling for this guy, but we'll see. Okay, so this is from Anthony Slater. It's not like breaking news or anything, but this just says that the Warriors have held trade discussions centered around Jimmy Butler and Anthony Davis in the past 24 hours. So that's from Anthony Slater of ESPN. Very, obviously very plugged in, so we'll see. We shall see how it plays out. Listen, I don't want to get overexcited about a deal that has. Okay. This is really interesting. This is a little bit of breaking news. Here we go. This is from Chris Haynes. Due to a sizable distance apart in negotiations, Detroit Pistons restricted free agent center Jalen Duren will meet with the Sacramento Kings at the start of free agency with the intentions of securing a sign-and trade out of Detroit. Okay. So I have to imagine, I haven't looked at salaries, obviously, because this just broke. But listen, we talked about after Detroit got eliminated by Cleveland in the second round, that obviously Jalen Duren has an excellent regular season, was an all-star, and then the postseason, his numbers just plummeted. We talked about Chet in the Western Conference Finals. Duren was even worse. And throughout the first 2 rounds against Orlando and against Cleveland. And so if I've said, if Jalen Duren's your number 2 go-to option opposite Cade, like that, I think you're kind of, capped at how good you can be offensively. And that was a big struggle with the Pistons. If he wants out, and I understand why, contract situation, we'll see. Does that mean Domantas Sabonis ends up in Detroit? Because the Kings have been looking to move DeRozan, which I think they're just going to have to buy out DeRozan's contract. I'm not sure really who he fits with at this point. And Sabonis, who's younger, can be more impactful. Does he end up with the Pistons? He's more offensively gifted than Jalen Duren, but he's not like a give the ball to Domantas Sabonis and let him get his own shot. Like, that's not his MO. They need another get-your-own-shot guy opposite Cade. So I don't know. This is really interesting. So yeah, Chris Haynes, due to stable distance apart in negotiations, Detroit Pistons restricted free agent center Jalen Duren will meet with the Sacramento Kings at the start of free agency with the intentions of securing a sign and trade out of Detroit. So there we go. That's where we're at. And I think, I don't know. I'm just trying to think, are there picks with that? What does Sabonis and Duren's contract looks like? Do they match? We'll see how it plays out. So, again, NBA free agency, folks, we are, or I should say just NBA offseason. The draft was phenomenal. Giannis got traded last week, albeit not, unless you live in South Beach, really not who we wanted him to get traded to. And then LaMelo get traded, which we'll talk about after the break and what have you. This is going to be like a pre-second apron type of NBA offseason. Like the second apron ruined free agency. We didn't get any big fish out in the sea, out in the open market. Now there's potential that Nikola Jokic could be a free agent next year, which would be, you want to talk about the sweepstakes for him. That would, I don't want to say rival LeBron in 2010 and 2018, but it'd be close. Great stuff. Great stuff. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, LaMelo Ball traded it late last week to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Why I think Minnesota's out of their mind for the deal, and Charlotte, very smart for the deal. Get to that. Also, Kawhi Leonard, there's some trade rumors there. All that stuff, and we got some Jalen Duren news. We might get more news over the course of the show, so stay tuned for Carvamp Live. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Carving Up Live. First of all, thanks for sticking with us in that first segment when my ring light just went kaput earlier. I think I'm looking at it now. Looks like it's fine. For some reason, it gave me some problems before the draft show with Mike Guido, which was a blast. Shout out to Mike. Barry was on the show as well. So was Tyler Reddington. But hopefully it will stick with us throughout the show. I will hopefully fix any issues if they arise. Also, do we have some more? I feel like we got some more news. Did this just break? Yes. Okay. So this didn't just break, but from Jake Fisher from the Stein line from Bleacher Report. He reports that Kawhi Leonard's trade to the Raptors could be finalized as early as tonight. And we already planned to talk about the Kawhi Leonard potential trade to Toronto later. But that's Jake Fisher saying Kawhi Leonard's trade to the Raptors could be finalized as early as tonight. So stay tuned. Might break during the show. Probably won't. I'm sure both sides are looking to see, what works for both organizations, but we'll see how it plays out. Okay, let's shift, though, to the first trade that, listen, we talked about Milwaukee and Giannis. It's still Giannis. I don't think the Heat are contenders, but it's still Giannis. I get why they did it. I just don't think they're contenders because of it. The one deal that makes absolutely no bleeping sense to me whatsoever is the Minnesota Timberwolves trading for LaMelo Ball. Now, a lot of folks are actually crushing Charlotte for making this move. I think Charlotte moving LaMelo and moving Bridges, brilliant moves by the Hornets front office. Now you get to build your organization around the objectively two best and most reliable players in your team in Brandon Miller and in Con Knippel. You're in great shape moving forward. Kobe White came back. The Hornets are in good position to hopefully make the playoffs next season, which I don't believe they've done since 2016, if I remember correctly. So Charlotte fans should be happy about this. Minnesota fans should be just scratching their head. What are we doing? So you move LaMelo Ball, or you make him move for LaMelo Ball, I should say. A guy who, first of all, before we even get to the on-court stuff or the off-court stuff, let's talk about the on-the-bench stuff. And by on the bench, I mean not available. LaMelo Ball the last 4 years, he doesn't play much at all. Last year, to his credit, he played 72 games. He was healthy. But in the last 4 years, he played 36 games, 22 games, 47 games, and to his credit, last year, 72 games. But he has played, out of the 328 possible games, he has played 53% of the possible games that he could have been available for with the Charlotte Hornets. He's just not been trustworthy in that regard. Then you have the off-court stuff, which is a story in of itself, the reckless driving and what have you, really, really dangerous stuff. You have that. Then on the floor, look, folks saying, Minnesota needs a point guard, Minnesota needs a point guard. Mike Conley was there the last few years. They need a point guard. Okay. Maybe I didn't follow the draft last year. Maybe I don't watch enough T-Wolves basketball. I think I do. Didn't they literally just draft a point guard last year who actually looked quite good in the playoffs when he got minutes? A kid by the name of Terrence Shannon. Weren't they kind of grooming him to be the one guard and Ant's the two guard? And now you're bringing LaMelo Ball? What are you doing? Because this is somebody who I'm not going to go as far as, shout out to Nick Wright. Nick's the best, but say, oh, he's a clown. He's an unserious player. I don't know if I go that far. What I'll say is, and maybe you could say this is an unserious player. He doesn't care about defense at all. We talk about Luka not playing defense. Bro, watch LaMelo Ball's lowlights on the defensive end of the floor. It is embarrassing. And frankly, this goes back to when he was cherry picking, scoring, 91, 92 points at Chino Hills High School like that. This has always been his MO. And then you have the component of, excuse me, now he goes into Minnesota, knowing how not inconsistent, but how, I guess, unpredictable his temperament can be. He knows he's not the lead dog in Minnesota, right? He does know that. That's Ant-Man. But LaMelo might say, it might be Ant-Man, but I won Rookie of the Year over Ant-Man. Last year, I was a little bit more available than Ant-Man. Again, these are the stuff, this is the kind of stuff that this kid, I think, would go through his head. We're purely speculating. I get that. Defensively, the T-Wolves just got way worse. In a Western Conference, we talk about the Warriors getting AD and maybe bring up Porzingis. Hey, get bigger. Oklahoma City got bigger. The Lakers need to this offseason. The Timberwolves just traded one of their bigs, who, by the way, is a phenomenal shooter in Naz Reid. If Naz Reid's your sixth man, boy, you're in great shape. Again, kudos to the Hornets for getting him, too. That's why I think Charlotte's going to be a playoff team next year. So Naz Reid's gone. Good defender, size, could shoot. So now it's Rudy Gobert, who can still obviously play great defense, but he's a zero on the offensive end. You've moved Julius Randle, which I get them doing for contract purposes, but now Gobert's your only big. You're not the squad. People talked about, they constructed the roster to beat Denver. Maybe that same roster works against the San Antonio Spurs with Wemby. Wemby's a different player than Jokic, but if nothing else, a big roster. Beat him up. I think we saw that in that series against the San Antonio Spurs. There were times where that physicality did bother Wemby. Oklahoma City couldn't really do that, right? The Portland Trailblazers couldn't really do that. Minnesota had success. The Knicks had a ton of success doing it with size and physicality and what have you. And so, listen, I know there's the excitement. Oh my gosh, the first and third picks from the 2020 draft, and they're both exciting young guards. I get that. But if there's been some rumbling, I'd say, over the last year, maybe 2 years, that Ant loves Minnesota, but it's possible that he might look elsewhere. We know during the Olympics, and it might culminate in Golden State, not with Ant Edwards, but with Steph, Bron, and AD, that a lot of recruiting goes on, when the team goes overseas and they're around together a lot, hey, it'd be pretty cool to play with you, right? We kind of fit together on the floor, and that if the recruiting pitch to keep Ant-Man in Minnesota for hopefully his whole career, at least his whole prime, is LaMelo Ball. Atrocious defender, not available, ball hog, inefficient, and doesn't play that smart a brand of basketball when you've already got Terrence Shannon. So now this stunts his growth and his development, and you give up your size with Naz Reid. I don't get this at all. And by the way, and I love Ant, but he's dealt with his fair share of injuries, particularly last season. He coming into the playoffs, he was hurt. He got hurt again against Denver. To his credit, came back, did all he could in that Spurs series, but he's, playing the way that he plays, going to the paint as much as he does, you're going to take some bumps and bruises. And LaMelo's your solution to the problem? When you've already got a young guard there that you can develop and who showed real promise last year? Again, I'm not saying Minnesota, oh my God, the Timberwolves are going to miss the playoffs. You still got Ant. You still got Jaden McDaniels, who had the best postseason of his career. You still got Rudy Gobert defensively. Ayo Dosunmu's back. It's just, what's Dosunmu's role now? I guess he's the small forward? I don't know, man. When I saw this deal, I'm like, gosh, Charlotte just, first thing I thought, honestly, Charlotte stole Naz Reid. Honest to God, that was the first thing that came through my mind. You look at the Hornets now, it's Kobe White, and it's Concanipple, and Brandon Miller, and Naz Reid, and okay, this is a nice squad here. They got a good coach. They get the least serious guy in the organization out of the building. Not serious off the court, not serious on the court, has been unavailable more often than not. We've had some big trades over the last week That's the first one I saw and said, I don't know what you're thinking here. Not even a little bit. So for a front office in Minnesota that was big on getting big, the Twin Towers they talked about with Gobert and with Naz Reid and trying to create that lineup and combating Jokic, and it's worked twice, by the way, to their credit, to Tim Connolly's credit. Could work potentially moving forward against the Spurs if Ant is healthy. This, to me, was not the solution to that at all. So, very much a scratch your head type of situation, Minnesota. Looks like we've got some comments here. My man, Grady Edwards. What's up, Grady? Long time no see, my friend. Long time no see. Good to see you, Grady. I'm going to say something absolutely asinine, but I believe it. If the Warriors can get LeBron and AD, they're the third best team in the West. I don't necessarily disagree with that. And then they can probably knock off San Antonio and make it interesting with OKC if it's LeBron, Steph, and Draymond. LeBron, AD, Steph, and Draymond to clarify. Yeah, I think, like I said earlier, that OKC, San Antonio are the clear-cut 1 and 2 in the Western Conference. I would have the Spurs as the favorite, but if nothing else, Golden State, I think, would match up better with San Antonio than with OKC. Because the thing with OKC's got so many long, rangy perimeter defenders. We talked about this during the playoffs. Why I thought the Spurs would beat them is that, but who they going to stop Wemby? Now, Chet in theory would have been the guy, but we saw what happened. That's where they drafted Adai. That's where they brought Isaiah Hartenstein back. He did a good job in the opportunities he got against Wemby. Is that those are the top two teams in the West. That third spot's up for grabs. Minnesota, to me, by trading for LaMelo, Minnesota's out of that. They are out of that. Not saying they're out of the playoffs. They're out of that conversation to be the third best team in the West. That's reserved for Houston, for Denver, and for Golden State. No question about it. And I even think Ja, to a degree, works on Portland. Oh, here we go. Breaking news. We just got some breaking news. Here we go. Regarding the Warriors. Kristaps Porzingis has agreed to a 2-year, $40 million contract extension to return to the Golden State Warriors with a player option in the second season. So Porzingis is back in Golden State. That just broke literally just now, according to Shams Charania. So Porzingis is coming back to Golden State, 2 years, $40 million, player option in the second year. So that's interesting. So I had this, I was reading this article earlier from, let me give credit to where it's due, Joey Akili, I think is how you say his name, writing for Sports Illustrated on Golden State, talking about how bringing Draymond, if you were to trade for AD, bring LeBron in, being able to retain Draymond and Porzingis is far from impossible, but it would be a little bit of a stretch. So let me go back to this. So the max amount of money, I'm reading this article right now in lieu of this news. The max amount of money the Warriors can spend on their roster if they use any part of the non-taxpayer and mid-level exception is $209 million. Which of course they would use LeBron. It's the most they can offer LeBron. And with LeBron and AD, the Warriors cap sheet would look at as follows. Steph would make $62 million, AD 58, Bron 15, Moses Moody 12.5, Horford 6, Yaxel Lunenborg 6, Pajemski 5, Guy Santos 4, Will Richard 2. Those 9 players, I'm reading from SI, those 9 players would account for about $174 million. That means Green and Porzingis would have to combine to sign for about $28 million, leaving about $7 million for the final 3 required roster spots. So that tells me if it was $28 million, about $28 million available for Golden State, Porzingis just signed for what's going to amount to this year to an average of 20, unless they backload the option, I guess, which I don't think they would do necessarily. That means Draymond then would have to take a gigantic pay cut. Gigantic to bring LeBron and AD here. So is that a sign? Is that a sign potentially that AD and Bron don't come to Golden State? I'm trying to see if there's any information. We'll get to the Kawhi stuff in a second. Harrison Barnes is staying with the Spurs. That just got reported by Shams, 1 year, $8 million. So I'm trying to see. Again, we're doing this live on air. I figured that there would be some news that broke, and there you go. If Porzingis coming back, how that, and the money, that what he signed for, what that means for the AD and Bron stuff. And how that contract is worded too. Like that's important as well. Like, is this a backloaded contract? Because again, 2 years, $40 million, that's an average of 20. But will they work it in a way to where it's like this year it's 15 so that Draymond could sign for, 10 and not, or I guess, 10, $12 million a year as opposed to 7 or 8. That's probably what they'll do is my guess. So we had a graphic ready. I'm honest to God, we had a graphic ready in case this happened. I thought there was a shot that Porzingis could sign during the show based on what I've been hearing. So with that being said, going back to Golden State, then we'll go to the Kawhi story and then anything else that could break. Okay, this isn't breaking news, just a speculation. So if Bron and AD were to come to Golden State, again, you guys have probably seen the lineup already. Again, Steph Curry, Podziemski, LeBron, Draymond Green, Anthony Davis. And folks say, again, that's an old starting lineup outside of Podziemski. It's a really old starting lineup, and it is. I think it actually might be the oldest starting lineup potentially in NBA history. I think it's something like surpassing the 01 Utah Jazz when Stockton and Malone were getting up there in age? And that team ended up making, it was either 01 or 02. That one of those Utah teams ended up making the Western Conference Finals at the end of Stockton Malone's time there in Minneapolis. Or in Salt Lake City, I should say. But the bench for Golden State, really young and to a degree athletic. So again, the bench, now that we know for certain Porzingis is back, like that, again, just broke. This is what the bench in theory would look like should you bring in LeBron AD. Yaxel Lindeborg, Moses Moody, again, he won't play until late season. In all likelihood, if he plays at all. Guy Santos, Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis. That is and if you want to take out Moses Moody, insert Will Richard, be my guest. That is a really good bench. Really good. And so, let's see. Oreo_166 says, to be honest, I don't know how I feel about AD just due to the fact that he's been the most injury-prone player outside of Embiid the past decade or half decade. To be honest, this might be a hot take, but he should come off the bench. I don't know if I agree with that because I think having that defensive front line for Golden State would be absolutely critical. Okay, so yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just processing this live. So Porzingis is back, which if AD didn't come to Golden State, Porzingis coming back was pretty much a lock. Him signing with the AD prospect of it all makes me wonder, again, 2 years, $40 million. The second year is a player option. If the team is not going to just backload this deal. So there you go. So big Warriors news, big Warriors trade, not the AD trade, or I should say trade. Big Warriors free agent news, not AD, not LeBron. LeBron can't sign until tomorrow, or I guess can't state his intention to join the Warriors until tomorrow, but we know he and other free agents will be signing wherever they'll be going. Porzingis, 2 years, $40 million contract, player option in the second season. Agent Jeff Schwartz of XL Sports Management tells ESPN. I really wish Shams or one of the insiders, Anthony Slater, somebody, Kawakami, had any news regarding, what this means for the AD and Bron stuff and what this means for the Warriors strategy. We'll see. Porzingis is coming back to Golden State. So very, very happy about that. All right, to Kawhi now. And again, we got developments from Kawhi during the show. Literally broke about probably 45 minutes ago. So this is Jake Fisher from, I believe, Bleacher Report reported this, that Kawhi Leonard being traded back to Toronto could happen tonight. Probably not during the show. We don't have that much time left, but probably late tonight, maybe the honest trade happened almost before midnight. So maybe some situation like that. So Kawhi could join Toronto again. And again, you would have to imagine the Raptors would give up, I can't imagine too many picks because Kawhi, while he's averaged 25 a game over the last 2 seasons, to his credit, there is the injury concern. He is going into, this will be year 16 for Kawhi. There is that question. You'd obviously have to give up somebody like an RJ Barrett or a Brandon Ingram. So basically you would form your roster around Scotty Barnes and Kawhi Leonard. Put those two together, see what they do in the margins. I mean, that's, we've talked about sort of the arms race in the Eastern Conference to compete with the Knicks. I get so much of this hinges on what happens with Jaylen Brown in Boston and what Boston gets back. But the Knicks are the clear favorites to win the East, no question about that. Boston, as currently constituted with Tatum and Brown, is number 2. We'll see what the Celtics do because I think they're going to trade Brown. If they do and don't get the best return for Jaylen Brown, then I think that 2 spot's up for grabs. It's Boston, Cleveland, Detroit. Toronto's in that mix now if they add Kawhi. Now, again, a lot of the questions about Toronto, to a lesser degree, are the questions we have about Golden State is, well, is Kawhi going to be healthy? Well, he was healthy last year, and he was second-team All-NBA. Averaged 27 a night. Like, Kawhi was awesome last season. Despite, Harden got traded, Zubats got traded. Like, the Clippers kind of waved the white flag mid-season. And Kawhi was still sensational. Now, they still lost in the play-in game to Golden State, but Kawhi, for the breadth of the regular season was fantastic. So, I think this would be a good trade for Toronto. I think if you're a Raptors fan, you got to be thinking, God, if only he'd stayed in the first place. And that's been a what-if since this Kawhi Clippers experiment has been a disaster. I mean, let's just keep it a buck. It's been a disaster. Year one in LA was actually weirdly the best year in some ways for Kawhi for the Clippers in terms of team success. You got to the second round, but then you blew a 3-1 lead to the Nuggets when you lost double-digit leads in games 5, 6, and 7. 2021, the Clippers actually got to the Western Conference Finals, but they did it without you because you got hurt middle of the second round against the Jazz. So you missed all of the next season. Year after that, you got hurt in the playoffs. Year after that, you got hurt in the playoffs. And then 2025, you're healthy, but you lose in 7 to Denver. And then last year, you're healthy, but you lose to a 37-win Warriors team in the play-in tournament. Like, you can't call his tenure with LA. And there's the scandal, obviously, regarding Steve Ballmer and Kawhi and some corruption there. Like, the Clippers will get decked. We'll see what kind of suspension, if any, that Kawhi gets. Adam Silver talked about he'd like to have this thing wrapped up soon, like weeks ago. It still hasn't been. The investigation is what we're referring to. At this point, it is a big what if. God, if Kawhi just stayed in Toronto. Because people forget. Because that bubble year, people like to discount the Lakers championships. They just act like that season didn't even happen. But that Raptors team got the 2 seed in the East. Pascal Siakam was an all-star that year. Kyle Lowry was still a good impact player. OG Anunoby was on that team. He was on the 2019 Raptors team, but I think he had appendicitis, and so wasn't able to play in the postseason. So it's like, holy crap, if you had Lowry at the end of his run, Siakam kind of moving into his prime. OG wasn't in his prime yet, but he was there, and Kawhi in the smack down the middle of his prime. Van Vliet as well. Don't forget about Fred Van Vliet. Like, that team could have won another title. 2020 or 2021. Then Kawhi has 3 rings, and then how do we look at his legacy differently? Like, it's, whereas now in Toronto, it's certainly a lock to make the playoffs. They made the playoffs last year with, I didn't think they were the 5th best roster in the East, but they made it. Good coaching, good young players. I like to see it happen. I think he should have never left to begin with. Toronto is what we're talking about, but I like to see it happen. Okay, here's some Shams information. Okay. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So this is from Shams. The Warriors were eligible to reach an extension with Porzingis ahead of the veteran center hitting the open market on Tuesday night. The deal, according to Bobby Marks, likely prohibits Golden State from using the full non-taxpayer mid-level exception. So that sounds like LeBron's potentially off the table in Golden State. Okay. Well, that changes Golden State's strategy completely. And unless, if they've gotten like a word on LeBron, does that mean they still trade for AD? I don't know. Looks like we've got some comments about Kawhi. Grace says, if the Raptors get Kawhi, I'm sure they'll pay him under the table through a maple syrup company. That's what they should have done in 2019, Grady. That's what they should have done. Which he was going to LA the whole time, which is why it was such a gamble for Masai Ujiri to make the move. And to his credit, hey, got him a ring. But okay, so yeah, Sham, again, this is from Shams, because I said earlier when the Porzingis news dropped, like, what does this mean for the LeBron AD situation? From Shams Shrani directly, the Warriors were eligible to reach an extension with Porzingis ahead of the veteran center hitting the open market on Tuesday night. According to Bobby Marks, likely prohibits Golden State from using the full non-taxpayer mid-level exception. So I'm trying to think then. I'm trying to go in my head like what trade they'd have to make. Again, let's look at. I've got a website to look at salary. So Steph's not going anywhere. No one's trading for Moses Moody with the injury status. Yeah, so there's no one really they could trade to fill up the money to where he could get AD and LeBron, it looks like. So, possibly took the win out of my sails from the earlier segment. But, yeah, there you go. Okay, so again, this could mean that AD still comes to Golden State. That's still not off the table. Again, Warriors have held trade discussions centered around Jimmy Butler, Anthony Davis over the past 24 hours, according to Anthony Slater. So, again, I don't imagine this changed this at all. But, and then there's the fact that, again, we throw this out. Maybe this was just a visit back home. Well, LeBron James posted on his IG earlier of him. He does this from time to time, but of him, like, rapping, driving down the road in Cleveland. So there you go. So does that mean Bron's going to Cleveland? Because, by the way, James Harden opted out of the last year of his deal, but Windhorst has reported for a month. The Cavs are going to bring Harden back. Does he take less so that LeBron can come back? I don't know, man. These next 24 hours are going to be absolutely insane. So, based on how I'm reading it, maybe I'm wrong, but based on how I'm reading it and what Shams has said, it sounds like LeBron of the Warriors is off the table. Unless by some crazy chance, maybe Draymond's gone. Draymond is technically a free agent, but also Shams has said Draymond's coming back. I don't know. I'm just reacting live on air to all of these news regarding the Warriors. So there you go. But like we said earlier, if Draymond is opting out of the last year of his deal, he probably knows something, but that something could be that AD's coming, maybe not necessarily LeBron. So much of this is how it's going to be. Again, Shams didn't say it does prohibit, it said it likely prohibits. So like 95%, but there's that 5% chance that how they do the contract with Porzingis, it incentivizes him to come back next year on the player option, but not from there. I should say not from there, but the first year of that deal is going to be very team friendly. Or it depends on what Draymond signs for. So we'll see. So Bron to the Warriors, chances on that probably just plummeted a lot with the Porzingis news. But we'll see how it plays out. Hey, we might do a show tomorrow or on Wednesday. We will be doing a show either the next 24 or 48 hours. So with that is all the time we have for today's show. Thanks to everybody for stopping by as always. Again, we'll be back either tomorrow night at 6, which is when the free agency window opens. That'll probably be what we do. If not, at 6 Eastern on Wednesday. Again, 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific time. Same place as usual. YouTube, X, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, all the major platforms. So great stuff. Breaking news throughout the show. There's some Jalen Duren stuff. I read that the Bulls might be trying to go get Norman Powell. By the way, Andrew Wiggins signed today in Miami, which probably means Powell's gone. So we'll see what happens. Crazy NBA offseason thus far. We'll see how it plays out. Hope everybody has a great rest of their evening. We'll likely be back tomorrow to react to free agency as it happens, as it opens. It's going to be a blast. So have a great week, everybody. Great evening. Stay safe out there. God bless y'all. Peace out. I still think there's a chance Bron comes. I still think there's a chance. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.